Hello and welcome to the Post to Post podcast. It is podcast number 83. It is October 6th. It's a Sunday, and holy crap, there was a lot of games last night.
My goodness gracious.
I couldn't keep up. I watched the highlights of a couple. I watched like as many as I could while they were going on. Can't keep up. I don't have enough TVs.
We can fix that.
I need 14 TVs. I've come to the conclusion.
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't know logistically how I would make every game be on a different TV.
Well, you'd have to have...
I don't think I can do that legally.
Well, yeah, there's right now there can only be, I guess, 15 games at one time.
Correct.
So, and after Seattle joins, there'd be the possibility of every team playing, because there won't be an odd number anymore.
Yeah, I'd have to invest in a 16th
A 16th television. Yeah. But if you have the NHL Center Ice package, or whatever they call it now...
It's still blackouts, though.
If you're buying that, there wouldn't be blackouts.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can get it on another channel. The only reason there would be a blackout is because it's available somewhere else, and they're trying to force you to the other channel.
You're right. So if I had the Rogers Center Ice, whatever, and I could watch them all on my computer, the Montreal game's going to be a blacked out in there. Hypothetically, I could watch it on Sportsnet or CBC on TV. Okay. But, yeah, I still need 15 TVs. 14 at least. There's that one game I don't really care about usually. So 14 TVs. It was a busy night. It was a really busy night. We'll go through all the games here in a little bit. But I wanted to address something that we did not talk about in our standings prediction video.
Oh, all right.
And if we did, I don't remember, but we should have picked our Stanley Cup winners. Because I had it on my paper. I just didn't say it.
Well, I asked you during the video, are we going to go into the playoffs? Are we going to do the brackets? And No,
yeah, I didn't want to do the whole brackets and everything, but I meant to say at the end of the video, who do you think is going to win the Stanley Cup this year? And I forgot. Or if it's in the video, I forgot that I said it in the video. So I'll ask you again, who do you think, or I'll ask you for the first time maybe, who do you think is going to win the Stanley Cup this year?
I haven't gone there. Everything else being equal, I would probably nominate the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Okay.
After yesterday, I'm not so sure. But I would probably nominate Tampa Bay just because they are so motivated to reverse what happened last time. But there's going to be a lot of teams out there that are hungry, that are also very motivated. They went even deeper than Tampa in the playoffs. I mean, I almost went deeper than Tampa in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And they've got things to prove, too. So I think the highest percentage is going to be Tampa, probably at a 10 or 12% chance right now of winning the Cup. Toronto's not far behind. Boston's not far behind. I think it'll be out of the Eastern Conference.
Okay.
But that's all I.
So Tampa is your official
pick.
All
Yeah.
right.
Not my favorite, but my pick.
Remember this in 8 months from now or 9 months from now.
I hope I'm wrong.
Okay. I'm picking the Boston Bruins.
Okay.
Do you remember when they won the Cup and then they went back to the finals? Or in the reverse order, I can't remember which way it happened, but I have that vibe from Boston again. They got there to the finals. I think they're going back, and I think the result's going to be a little bit different this year. So my pick is the Boston Bruins. They look really good in the preseason. They look really good so far this year. The team hasn't changed that much, so not fingers crossed. I don't want Boston Bruins to win the Stanley Cup, but fingers crossed that I'm right.
Careful.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I have some news to go through. A bunch of news. I got 2 pages here, which does not happen very often. But the first thing I want to talk about, as far as news, is the World Cup of Hockey. Did you hear this? Do you remember the World Cup of Hockey in 2016?
I did. I do, somewhat roughly.
Okay. Well, Deputy Commissioner Bill Daley announced that the NHL and NHLPA want to bring the tournament back, which is interesting because they said "na-na" to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then they "na-na" to the World Cup of Hockey, and there was nothing. There's been nothing for 3 years. Now they want to bring it back. So it's interesting. It could be it will be part of the discussions, the collective bargaining discussions leading up to 2022, because that's when the current CBA expires. So I don't know. I don't know if they can negotiate it so it happens earlier than that, like next summer or the summer of 2021. I'm not sure if that's possible, or we actually need to wait until after 2022.
I don't know, and I don't know that it's a great idea. I'm not a fan of hockey trying to catch on to the World Cup thing again, recatch to the World Cup thing. I think it works really well for rugby. It works really well, especially for football / soccer. Works really well. Hockey, I don't know. I don't feel it. There's just so much going on in an 82-game regular season schedule, plus preseason, plus playoffs. If you're lucky enough, some teams might play over 100 games, and their best players are going to play over 100 games, and then add on to that another 3-week tournament somewhere. Or will it be a 3-week tournament? Because if you look at the real World Cup, there are qualifyings and qualifyings that go on and on and on because there are so many teams in football, soccer, that are good.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the same format.
It wouldn't be the same. So
I would think in 2 weeks maximum.
Yeah.
They could do it in a week. If they really wanted to, they could do it in a week, week and a half.
And it would be less meaningful the shorter amount of time they spend on it. Like, I don't know.
Okay, well, World Cup versus Olympics.
Yeah.
What would you prefer? Or none?
Either or. I wouldn't, not both.
Yeah, not both. I agree, not both.
I'd be okay if we did a World Cup instead of an Olympics. I'd be all right with that. Because the whole Olympic vibe, and I don't like the IOC controlling
I agree.
every little thing, all the media, all the footage, all the logos, and all that stuff. I hate that degree of control that the IOC has over all Olympic sports. And in hockey, which is such a marketing-driven sport, with jerseys and everything else, I don't want to spend any money that puts 1 red cent in the hands or in the pocket of some rich German guy who happens to be a member of the IOC.
I completely agree.
All right.
Yeah, they have a little bit too much control. And I think that's part of the reason why the NHL said no to the last Olympics.
Yeah, because the NHL is just as greedy as the IOC.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, moving on to next, kind of in the same ballpark, the Global Series. This year we have a couple of Global Series games, but next year there's rumors that the host country might be Russia.
Oh, really? For NHL games?
Yeah, for having an NHL game in Russia, which would be really interesting. I think it's a good idea. I really like the Global Series. I think it's a very important part of growing the game and stuff. We saw games in Switzerland, Sweden, Germany, Finland. I think those are the 4 countries from the past 2 years, 2 or 3 years.
I think so.
But yeah, I think it would be great. I mean, if you look at the percentage of players in the NHL from Russia, Russia's in the top 5 as far as producing players. I think they're 5th.
Mm-hmm.
I think it goes Canada, USA, Sweden, Finland, Russia. Russia's fallen to 5th, I think, or something.
Really?
Like that.
I wasn't aware of that.
They used to be 3rd, I think, and now they're 5th.
Wow.
I can't remember. I'll have to look at it. But
it will be interesting to see what kind of draw, what kind of fan interest there is, considering that the KHL has the market pretty well. So not for professional sports and high elite sports, but I think any reasonable person who looks at the talent pool for all the leagues that are playing right now would agree that the NHL is the elite league in the world.
Yep, I agree.
And probably the most international league in the world. And the KHL and others are leagues that are playing players who are not yet ready for the NHL or are out of the NHL but not ready to retire.
Mm.
And there's certainly a big middle ground of players that probably never would have been interested in or drafted by the NHL who are very, very good players. They were just never scouted, and they're toiling away in the KHL and probably making decent but not super decent money.
Comfortable money.
Comfortable
for sure.
money. And the NHL comes to town all of a sudden, as it may. And I don't know if that's good for the KHL.
And outside of hockey, there are political implications to this as well.
Yeah.
That could completely get in the way of everything. I mean, Trump could just be like, nope, not going.
Well, how could he do anything about it?
He would do something stupid like threaten the Russians, I don't know, trade or something like that. Like he would just make it so.
But he likes Russia.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. I think that's the weird part. He's trying to maintain a very good relationship with.
I didn't think he liked anyone.
Well, he only likes people that like him.
I think,
for one thing.
well, yeah, I
But,
think Russia likes him. I don't know if he likes Russia.
Oh, well, he's
He's in bed?
this. I don't want to just disappear tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything else.
Let's move on.
Yeah, but no, he doesn't see Russia as an adversary, as previous presidents
Right.
would have seen them as an adversary. He sees them as a potential ally on all kinds of things that go with being a strong man, being a tough guy. Russia's got a tough guy. Trump thinks himself as a tough guy, and he'd like to hang out with the tough guys. So,
Okay.
but back to the hockey side of it, I think there will be political implications, but they may be implications in that, well, we're the KHL. We don't want you in our country playing in our arenas unless we get a cut of X, your gate or whatever. They may have to sort all that kind of stuff out. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be good for Russia financially, all the fans and stuff, because there would be fans from North America and other countries in Europe and stuff go to Russia to see the games.
That would be the key.
Yeah.
If it's a truly international fan event, as it would be in Western Europe, or as it has been in Western Europe, Canadians, Americans will flood over to Norway, Sweden, Finland, Germany, Austria to watch their players, their teams play in those venues. I have a good passport. I think I'm good pretty well anywhere on the planet. I think twice about going to places that are not fully settled.
You have to file for a visa, and if you want to go to Russia.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's another reason.
yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, I'm probably not. I'm curious about Russia. If you could leave me in a bubble and just kind of drag me through and let me look out the window and then get rid of me, or not get rid of me. I don't mean get rid of me, but let me, exit.
I agree.
I'd be great. There's a lot of countries like that. I'm dying to see them, but I don't want to die in seeing them.
I
Know what I mean?
completely agree. Yeah, totally.
All right.
Okay, moving on. Did you know that every NHL team has a dog now?
I did not. I love it.
I
didn't know that.
That was my question. How do you feel about this?
I think it's great.
I think every NHL team, I think that's what I read. Every NHL team has a dog. They're always on Twitter and stuff. They're posting pictures and stuff. It's fantastic.
You had mentioned the other day that you don't follow players on Instagram very much or social media generally.
Right.
But Matt Duchene, I think you said, you follow him because he has a cute dog.
Yeah.
And that was the first I thought about a dog and hockey connection of any kind. I know that players have dogs. Players are humans, and a lot of humans have dogs, so it stands to reason. But I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah, I think Vegas started it maybe because their dog's name was. Oh, I'm gonna get this wrong. I think it's Marc-Andre Fleury. I
That's
think.
great. That's great.
So and now like the Montreal Canadiens have a dog. I think LA has a dog. Like I think they all have a dog. I haven't seen them all, but maybe I will go look at them after this.
I think I do recall one of the Montreal Canadiens videos a year or two ago about them adopting from like a shelter dog or something.
I think
maybe
it was a puppy.
maybe it was, and it was going to be. I'm not say member of the team necessarily, but it was going to be maybe a thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't really think much of it after that because I have heard very little, if maybe nothing.
Anyways, cool. It's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
In other news, did you hear that the Ottawa Senators are for sale?
Well, I heard they were for sale. I think they've always been for sale.
I think so too.
Whether Eugene Melnick has admitted it or not, I think everything's for sale.
I think so too.
I think this entire set is for sale if the right person and the right checkbook comes.
I
along.
agree. Yeah, I agree.
in that regard, I guess my cheap answer is yes.
Well, the daughter of Kraft,
I thought it was the granddaughter.
the granddaughter, daughter, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Kraft, that big company that makes Kraft dinner.
Is that the same Kraft though? Is Robert Kraft, who owns the Patriots?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a pretty big name, so
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same guy or the same family, but it matters not.
it is now.
Okay.
Kraft. Okay, what do they call it in the States? We call it Kraft dinner. They call it just like mac and cheese or something.
Well, yeah.
Same thing.
Like Kraft Foods exists in both countries.
Yeah.
They make peanut butter. They make mac and cheese things.
If it's not the same Kraft, that's a missed opportunity. They need to get together and talk about stuff. Okay, so she released a sneaky Snapchat inside the Ottawa Senators arena with a couple of emojis, one bag of money emoji, a handshake emoji, and a winky face emoji. So do you think they're pursuing new ownership, or do you think there has something to do with the arena situation?
Well, we saw that when we were watching TV last night, or maybe you were upstairs, but it was a part of the Hockey Night in Canada coverage that we were watching last night. And when I first saw the Instagram posting with those emojis, I thought, ooh, the team. But then it was explained that the team may not be the thing she's Instagramming about. It could instead be the property.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Because they have real estate interests as well.
either way, I think this is good news for the Ottawa Senators fans. Even just a hint, even just an inkling of Eugene Melnyk being gone is a good day.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this plays out.
All right.
Speaking of Ottawa, they've retired number 4, Phillips, who played for the team forever. They've decided to retire his number. How do you feel about this?
I don't feel good about it at all.
I don't feel good about it at all either. I hate this trend in hockey now where we're retiring numbers. Not to discredit Phillips.
Oh, no.
Amazing player, very impressive career. Number retire worthy? Probably not, in my opinion. And in general, let's stop retiring numbers. Like, there's other ways we can honor a player besides retiring a number.
Yeah.
There are a couple of exceptions. Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
I agree.
And every team retired 99.
Yes.
Every team.
Every team. I completely agree with that.
Yep.
There are arguments could be made for Bobby Orr, possibly. I don't agree with them, but there are arguments. Sidney Crosby will probably have 87 conversation talked about league-wide. Definitely Pittsburgh will be retiring 87.
Oh,
Ovechkin with his 8. That'll probably be retired by Washington.
Yeah.
There are some exceptions, but Phillips, yeah.
Well, the thing with Ovechkin and Crosby is when you're having your retirement ceremony, you can have this video package up on the Jumbotron that includes this. Mm-hmm. You can't have that with Phillips.
I don't think that's a prerequisite for a number retiring.
I think it is. If you weren't enough of an influence in your team, on your team, over all those years to bring this home, no retirement. You're done.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
It's bold, all right.
I don't.
It's bold. It's bold.
I don't disagree with it, but I don't agree with it.
Okay.
I like it though.
I think a team that retires a player who never took them to glory. They got to the finals once.
They did.
Okay, so they got to sniff it. They got to see the other team pick it up. It doesn't count. No. Right. It just becomes an event. It just becomes, oh, we need something to have a celebration about. Oh, let's retire Phillips. No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No knock on Phillips.
Yes, again.
Not his fault. He was playing on a crappy team almost all of his life.
It really almost doesn't have anything to do with Phillips.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see my tweet last night?
Yeah.
About Mika Zibanejad?
I did.
Dude's got 8 points in 2 games.
That's pretty awesome.
Like, what? That's incredible. And I know you didn't watch any of the highlights from last night. We'll get into that later. But
I didn't say I didn't watch any.
Well, okay.
Didn't watch them all.
You didn't watch them all. He had a very good game last night against Ottawa. He's fantastic. So,
but do you know who's on the same pace as he is right now?
No.
Tyler Bertuzzi.
Tyler Bertuzzi.
He's got 4 points in 1 game.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 goals, 2 assists. He's on fire.
He is. He got an empty net last night.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah, it was 4-3 until he went.
Yeah, anyways, the Rangers are 2-0. They look pretty good, which makes you look bad because in the video,
sure does.
prediction video, you said
bring it. Make it look bad. Make me look bad. Of course, you're playing the Ottawa Senators. Who did they play the first game?
I don't remember.
If you're starting off your NHL season and the Ottawa Senators are your second game, there's a good chance you're going to be 2-0 when you're done.
Maybe, but there's some positive things on Ottawa too.
Oh yeah,
Brady Tkachuk has scored 2 goals in 2 games. If you look at the supporting cast that Brady Tkachuk has, there's not really a lot. So good on him for getting out and scoring 2 goals in 2 games. Young kid, good start for him.
Great start for him. And later on in the podcast, maybe not immediately, but since you mentioned the name, the featured guests on the After Hours NHL show last night after the Edmonton-Vancouver game was Matt Tkachuk, or Calgary-Vancouver was Matt Tkachuk. And it was amazing. It was a great video. He talked a lot about Brady.
Yep.
Talked a lot about his family. and about the competitiveness. And their sister, who he says is the best athlete in the group, she plays field hockey, university sports. She's incredible.
Wow.
But what a great story that Tkachuk family is generally.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I normally don't watch those shows because it's hockey interviews, right? Yeah, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to put pucks in the net, we're going to do our best. This was a real connection interview. And, we have a caller just a minute, and they played it. Yeah, hi, Matt, it's your mom. I want to know when you're going to start using your mouth guard properly. It was great.
That's awesome. Nice chirp. Nice chirp from Mom. Yeah. Did you see the line brawl last night in the OHL?
No, I did not.
Oh, buddy.
Who playing who?
The Ottawa 67s versus the London Knights. There was a doozy.
No kidding.
There was one player, I think, on the Ottawa 60. Anyway, it doesn't matter. One player had two guys, one on each arm, and was handling them both. It was great. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. It's online everywhere right now.
So, did the benches clear or just the players on the ice?
On the ice. Yeah, unfortunately, just the players on the ice. It'd be great to see you.
Listen to it.
I know. It's selfish. Before we get into the games from last night, I just want to say that I do have news pertaining to myself, this channel, this podcast. I am moving. I am no longer going to be living in Prince Edward Island. I'm moving back to Fredericton, New Brunswick, where I was when this channel first started. And
just kidding.
That'll be happening. This is my last week here. So next Sunday is the last podcast that you will see with you.
I have been fired.
You have not been fired. I have been relocated. I've been traded.
Well, we got magic of internet. Sometime you may see me in the future. I'm not going away. I'm developing my own channel, actually.
Yes.
Enough for hockey, though. But we can do the Skypey thing.
Exactly. That's what I was leading into. I still want you to be part of the podcast, whether that's calling in for 10 minutes or you submitting a video or whatever. You'll definitely still be a part of the podcast and other videos as well. So it is a big change, though. It's a big change for myself.
Yeah.
It's a big change for the channel because there's going to be a transition period where I don't know where I'm going to live. So I'm trying to buy a house over there, but I have to get pre-approved for a mortgage, and even the process of buying a house, even if I was approved, can be very long. So I've accepted a new job over there. I start October 21st, but I'm going over there next in 8 days, and so Monday after the next podcast. And I might need to find an apartment to stay in for a month or two until I wait until there's a house I can buy, or if I can't buy a house, then maybe I'll be in an apartment for 6 months or a year. I don't know. There's so many balls up in the air right now that I don't know what's going to happen in the coming weeks. I haven't asked Jason if I can stay with him for a couple days, but I'm sure that's okay with him. So next Sunday, next podcast, you'll be in it. It'll be a regular podcast as usual. The following Sunday, there won't be any podcast because I'll be in Maine. I think I announced that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In the previous podcast, podcast number 82. So regardless, there won't be a podcast that Sunday. But the Sunday after that,
you'll have landed somewhere.
I think is Halloween weekend. And maybe, I can't remember.
That sounds about right.
I don't know for sure. I want to check because...
Like today's the 6th, 13th, 20th, 27th.
Okay, so no. The podcast on the 27th will be at Jason's place. It'll be myself and Jason. And the following weekend, I'm here because I have a doctor's appointment. I have x-rays for my ankle on that Monday. So I will be here that weekend. Okay. So you will be in that podcast, hopefully.
Well...
On the 3rd.
On the 3rd.
November 3rd.
Okay, yeah, I will be around. I'm away, actually, not away. I'm away from home the entire week leading up to that. On the Saturday, the 2nd, is when I return.
Okay, perfect.
But I'll be elsewhere. I'll be on PEI, but I'm hanging out with some buddies.
Okay.
For the whole week.
So that is the schedule. Today's the 6th, 13th. There will be a podcast. That's Thanksgiving weekend in Canada. 20th, no podcast. 27th, podcast at Jason's, 3rd, podcast here with you.
Cool.
So that's the schedule coming up. It's tough because I don't know where I'm going to be living in the next 3 weeks. Or the 3 weeks following this coming week. So I could be at Jason's for a couple of days. I could be in an apartment. I have no idea. I don't know what that means for filming videos, like regular videos.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to film videos in my truck. Like I don't know. I don't even know if there's going to be anything to talk about. So I ask for your patience in this transition period. I know that we kind of just took the summer off and there wasn't a lot of content. There may not be a lot of content in the month of October, but I'm hoping that we can film some videos in the coming week that kind of like pre-film some videos that I can kind of release throughout. And it gets complicated because the computer that I have is like I don't edit on a laptop. I have a pretty beefy editing computer, so I don't know where I'm going to put that to edit. If I'm going to bring it to Jason's for a couple of days, it's probably not worth it. If I get an apartment, I don't know. It's complicated. So hopefully in a month from now, everything's sorted out and I'm into a place and can start setting some stuff up. So with all this said, the background is going to change a little bit and the set is going to change. So I'm going to leave this desk here. I'm going to leave these mic arms here. I'm taking these mics and I'll bring them back every time that I want to film anything here. But I'm taking these with me. So if you want to film something here in this location, you still can. I'll put a different mic in for you to use, the old mics that we used to use. So you can use those if you want. Obviously, I'll be taking my camera. I'll be taking all my jerseys, or most of them, over. If I have an apartment, I'm hoping to get a second bed, like a 2-bedroom apartment, so I can have the second bedroom be the studio where I'll film probably by myself or whatever. So the background isn't going to be as big. I don't even know if there's going to be jerseys in the background. Maybe my computer will be in the background with some lights and stuff. We'll be filming the podcast at Jason's. Pretty sure he's okay with that. We had a conversation a couple weeks ago. So he has a green screen down there. Maybe we'll rig something up where we can hang jerseys instead. We filmed there before, so if you've been a follower of the channel, you would have seen some podcasts and videos filmed there a lot. So definitely lots of options, but it's just a matter of sorting them out and stuff.
Well, it's an important change for you. It's another step in your life, and it's a very good step. You're going to what sounds to me, without getting into detail, a very interesting line of work, very interesting job in a very interesting and growing industry, and it's a great step for you. And once you get settled there doing that and your life settles, it'll be great for the viewers to have you back in a permanent location somewhere. Yeah,
it's bad short term because there's so much to figure out, but long term it's really good because I can set up a lot of permanent things and make a lot of decisions and stuff. I won't tell you what the job is or what field it's going to be in. I want to get into it and get settled and stuff, and then I'll probably talk about it a little bit, maybe on the second channel. More post to post, but that's the news as of right now. I don't think I've forgotten anything.
Don't think so.
But you'll probably see me in some videos on Justin's channel since I'll be back in Fredericton and he lives there. So keep an eye out for me on maybe some other channels. But
we just renewed. You were away, but we just renewed the post-to-post mailbox for another year.
Right, so the P.O. Box is still going to be in Prince Edward Island. If you want to write us a letter or anything, feel free to send it to that P.O. Box. I'll be back here lots, probably like once a month, once every 2 months. I'll grab everything. We'll still do mail time here. We'll always do mail time here.
Cool.
So, that's not going away or anything. So, can't think of anything else to... All right.
All good.
So, games last night. There was a lot. I'm going to try and go through these pretty quickly because you only watched a couple of highlights, so I don't know how much you're going to be able to contribute. I had to chirp you a little bit.
That's fine. That's fair.
The first game, Buffalo versus New Jersey. Buffalo destroyed New Jersey 7-2. Now, we had some comments about the Buffalo jersey. Neither of us really liked them that much. And a couple of people in the comments didn't like that we didn't like them very much. Specifically me, and the fact that I said they look like the Winter Classic jersey from a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. I said they reminded me of them. They still do. I don't regret saying that. The stripes along the bottom, the stripes are a little different. The logo's the same, except for there's gold in the new logo. And there's the shoulder shoulders were colored in the Winter Classic jersey. Other than that, they're the same jersey pretty much. So subjective, but they did look good on the ice last night, though.
Yeah. Oh, so they were using them.
They wore them last night. They looked good in the uniform. So I will say that for sure. Subban had a terrible giveaway, and I wanted to talk to you about it, but you didn't watch the highlights, so I guess that's all I say. But that's what you get with Subban. You get him making incredible plays, and you get the complete opposite where he's trying to dingle and dangle, and he gives away the puck, and that's exactly what happened last night. It's extremely frustrating.
That's how he's always been.
He's always been like that. He'll probably always be like that.
He's a high-risk, high-reward player.
Yeah. And New Jersey looked a little lazy last night, so, the season's just starting. Lots of new players on the team. Maybe there's a chemistry issue. I don't know. But they looked a little tired, more so in the first half of the game. But hopefully they get that sorted out.
Speaking about Subban, though, the previous night, New Jersey would be a little tired, right, because they played Friday night.
Yes.
But that pass and the one-handed goal
it was awesome.
Was amazing.
By Coleman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
And that's the second time he's done that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Incredible.
They showed a highlight package after showing his goal on the sports the next morning. And they went back to Ovi's goal and some other goals, and they showed his previous goal.
Yeah, and Schneider also get injured, too, in that game.
Did he?
So, and Blackwood was playing last night. Made some good saves, but still, questionable goals. So
7-2. Ooh.
Yeah, it's tough. And Buffalo looked really good. A lot of chemistry was very apparent.
Wow.
In Buffalo. Skinner was great. Eichel was great. They just looked like Reinhardt got a nice goal. They looked pretty good.
Cool.
Montreal, Toronto. We did watch this game. Montreal won 6-5 in a ridiculous game. Both teams were really inconsistent at times. Montreal got out to an early lead, and then Toronto kind of took over until the third period, and Montreal kind of came back. It was just wild. Toronto was up 4-1 at one point, I think. And Montreal came back, made it 5-4. And Toronto scored late, sent it to overtime.
It was your typical pull the goalie, Austin Matthews, get a goal, tie it up. And I thought, as a Montreal fan, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this before.
Yeah, exactly.
And nay.
It was a very typical Montreal-Toronto game, though. Usually they're kind of back and forth and stuff. And
there's actually no scoring in overtime, despite the fact we had started 3-on-3, then it was a penalty, so it was 4-on-3, then it was 4-on-4, and then it was 3-on-3 again, once the whistles all went through. And it had to be settled in a shootout.
Exactly.
And in our prediction video we did a week or so ago, I mentioned that Toronto will win a lot of games, but they'll be high-scoring games. They'll have lots of goals for, they'll have lots of goals against, but they'll win a lot of games. And this is the game last night they probably should have won.
I agree.
But for a really dumb penalty.
Just a stupid penalty. I've never seen it before. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure 90% of you have seen it, but Kapanen broke his stick, held onto it for like 2 seconds, and then threw it at Petrie's stick when he had the puck.
Threw it at Jeff Petrie. And I'd never seen it before, to the extent that I didn't know the rule. When the referee decided to award a penalty shot to Petrie, I thought, well, it doesn't have to be Petrie. It can be anybody. It is a penalty shot. A coach can pick who takes it. No, nay. In the rule book, sure enough, when a player gets a stick thrown at him and is awarded a penalty, it has to be that player who takes the penalty shot. So I thought, oh, great. Jeff Petrie going in on a breakaway from a defenseman, and he's the poor guy who's got the penalty shot. Well, this won't help anything. And then he scored.
I thought it was going to be a penalty. I thought it was going to be 5-on-3 for Montreal because Montreal was already on the power play.
Yeah.
But no, penalty shot.
No,
it worked out real well.
So boom. And Montreal ends up winning the game in a shootout, 6-5. And probably shouldn't have happened, but I'm not complaining. But the best team did not win. There were several extended periods of time where Toronto had Montreal bottled up in their own zone. Horribly bad. Montreal was very, very poor at getting the puck out of their zone.
Watching Toronto last night, they have Marner, Matthews, Tavares, Nylander, Kapanen. They have a lot of really good players. I think my favorite player has changed on Toronto. The more that I watch Morgan Rielly, the more I'm impressed with him.
Yeah?
He's so important to the team. Like, he is all over the ice. He's good defensively most of the time. He's extremely good offensively, and not just shooting the puck and cycling the puck in the zone. Breaking out.
Yeah.
He was on, I think, 3 or 4 3-on-2s last night as a defenseman. He's quick. He doesn't look like a quick guy. He kind of looks like Phil Kessel. Like
He's
like
kind of got a round
Yeah.
face.
but he's quick. He's really quick.
Yeah.
So the more I watch him, the more I really appreciate him. That's tough to do as a Montreal Canadiens fan. But
Sure is. But Toronto had a really good presence when they were up 4-1. And they were 3-1 for quite a while. And then they scored that fourth goal. But Montreal scored like 11 seconds later.
yeah,
And that flicked a switch of some kind.
It did.
I think Toronto went through what Montreal, and we talked about it last night watching the game. Montreal would do that too. They'd get out to a lead, and then one goal will get scored on them, and then the air comes out,
Yeah.
and next thing you know, there's 3 or 4 more goals getting scored on them. And Toronto had that happen in the reverse to them last night, which was awesome. But Toronto was, for the most of the game, by far the better team, and last night does not tell the tale of how the team will do for either team, frankly, because Montreal had some awful plays. And Jeff Petrie, despite the fact he got that goal, some of his defensive work and pinching and going in deep into the offensive zone when he had no business doing it was very, very apparent and frustrating.
and Toronto was also playing their backup goalie last night.
Yeah, that's right.
McElhaney and net, not
That's
Anderson.
right, because they were on a back-to-back.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that was a contributing factor. Although he was left out to dry
Yeah.
quite a bit in that game, and
He was.
He made some really, really good saves. So
Yeah. And I saw the comment, I think it was later on in some of the coverage, and they were recapping the game. When Carey Price lets in 5 goals, but he's still like the best guy in the team, that says something.
yeah,
Really.
you're right.
Because he was the difference in the last 10 minutes of regulation.
And the shootout as well.
And the shootout, for sure. Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next game was the Rangers versus Ottawa. New York won 4-1. And you didn't watch the highlights from this game, did you?
I did not.
The Rangers' second goal was amazing. I watched it 7 times, and I literally laughed out loud at my screen. It was so good, I couldn't believe it happened.
Really?
It made the Ottawa Senators look like a peewee team. It was unbelievable. You have to see it after this. Please remind me to show you. But that being said, Ottawa did look pretty good at times. In the first half of the game, I thought Ottawa looked pretty good for like the lineup that they have isn't that impressive, but they were pretty competitive in a lot of portions of that game. Georgiev was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. He made some really, really good saves. And I also just wanted to say that name. Georgiev.
Georgiev.
The Florida-Tampa Bay game, Florida won 4-3. Awesome game. Totally felt like a playoff game from what I saw. The crowd was into it. They were loud. Florida got off to an early start. Took a pretty substantial lead. Tampa came back, kind of back and forth. It was physical. It was awesome. It felt like a rivalry was born between the two teams. They just played, I think, a back-to-back. So really looking forward to their next game. And that arena was packed and loud in Florida.
We both see good things ahead for Florida this year. You a little more than me. You picked them to be finishing really
Third,
high.
I think.
Yeah. But we both agreed that Florida-Tampa would become the rivalry, kind of like across town, although they're farther apart than that. But.
The Panthers, what's this word I was going to look for? The team needs it, financially.
Oh, yeah.
The Panthers market.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Needs that rivalry, needs life back into the team. We can't have an arena that seats 17,000 and there's 3,500 bums in seats. That's not acceptable for an NHL team.
No.
It was packed last night, so
good stuff.
Awesome. Pittsburgh played Columbus. Sidney Crosby had a little tussle. Pittsburgh won 7-2. It was basically completely domination. The new guys seemed to have chemistry. Galchenyuk looked really good. Crosby got some points, had a fight, looked really good. It was awesome. It was very typical Pittsburgh-Columbus, where Pittsburgh dominates Columbus. For whatever reason, Columbus just has trouble with Pittsburgh.
Yeah. They showed the Crosby incident, and I thought he handled himself really well.
He did.
And he got the takedown at the end along the boards, and good for him.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Washington played Carolina, and Carolina won 3-2. Gardner with the OT winner, and Reimer in net. So you got some Leafs, some former Leafs, doing some good stuff.
Yeah,
it was a really great game. Again, kind of had a playoff feel. Crowd was into it. They were loud. It was a physical game. Really good game to watch. St. Louis played Dallas. St. Louis won 3-2. Man, the Dallas giveaways in the first half of the game were driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Like T-Park, big Dallas fan. Probably listen to this podcast. I just, like, if that's his favorite team. I went through that last year with Montreal, like just the giveaways and giveaways and giveaways. He must have been pissed last night watching some of those giveaways. I felt like there's a bit of a rivalry born. Not that there wasn't there before between St. Louis and Dallas, but they played last year in the playoffs.
They did.
A very close series, very physical series. Last night, it really felt like that rivalry was born again. I think it's going to be a real good season between both of those teams when they play each other. Those games are going to be marked on my calendar as games to watch. So, disappointed that Dallas lost, but it's a good game.
Right on.
Detroit played Nashville. Detroit won 5-3. Detroit got an early lead, blew it in a tough building. Any team that plays in Nashville must just dread going there because it is a very tough building to play in. But they didn't give up.
Yeah.
They blew their lead, didn't give up, came back, won the game. Like you said earlier, Bertuzzi got 4 points in that game. Pretty great. I think Detroit plays today against Dallas, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as far as predictions.
All right.
Boston played Arizona. Boston won 1-0. Absolutely incredible saves in this game on both sides. Halak was outstanding. Highlight reel saves from Halak, and on the other end too. Both teams played really, really well in the net. It was an exciting game despite the score, but Boston did defeat Arizona. I didn't see a lot of the game, but the highlights looked pretty good. Colorado versus Minnesota. Colorado won 4-2. Grubauer made some highlight reel saves. Minnesota looked tired in the first half of the game, but really, if you get a chance to watch the highlights, it is worth watching. Grubauer was fantastic. San Jose and Anaheim. Anaheim won 3-1. Gibson was awesome. Really kept the Ducks into the game. Ducks' third goal was a complete embarrassment by San Jose.
Is that right?
It was a joke, an absolute joke. As a San Jose fan, I am embarrassed to watch that goal. It was... I need to calm down.
But yeah, really, you do.
I'm too emotional. I'm just going to leave it at that. I want to move on. Calgary played Vancouver. Calgary won 3-0. Sorry, fairly predictable game. I think Calgary was really going to take it to Vancouver. It was a home game for them.
I did watch that game. I did skippies, but
Nice.
I watched it, and Calgary was dominant.
Yep.
Vancouver skated with them about 90% of the time. A lot of fisticles going on, and this is a rivalry. It's always been there, but this year it will be good. I'm looking forward to the next game between these two clubs.
It's a good challenge for Vancouver.
Yep.
To a young team trying to prove themselves again. Still ran into a really good team in Calgary, and it was, even though they lost 3-0, it was still a competitive game. What did you think of the 40th anniversary patch on the Calgary jersey?
I didn't take note of it.
Oh, you didn't see it?
I didn't.
It's
I probably
awesome.
said- yeah.
I want it.
Oh, okay.
I want it.
He wants it, and he wants it now.
Oh, Gollum says that in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
I want it. Edmonton and the Los Angeles Kings played last night in a real crazy game. Edmonton won 6-5. Both Smith and Quick were struggling. Smith, I don't know. I think Smith was still thought that he was playing in Calgary and was trying to get back to the Calgary arena because he wasn't in his net for the first 2 goals. Both first goals, he was completely out of the net. I don't know what was going on, but both goalies struggled, along with both defensive groups. Good game for the fans, though. High-scoring game. Home team won. So the fans in the arena had a good time, I guess. But
James Neal got 2 goals, but he still ended the game as a -1.
Oof.
So it was kind of crazy the look of things.
Indeed.
Yeah.
There are 3 games on today, so we'll do some predictions here. Tampa Bay plays Carolina. Who are you picking to win?
Well, I think I would. I don't know because
It's tough.
It is tough. I think both teams have played last night, right? So
Yeah, and don't underestimate Carolina.
no,
But Tampa Bay lost last night, so they're pissed.
yeah. Where are they playing it? Which
I believe they're in Carolina.
I'm gonna give it to Carolina.
I wanted to do that, but I'm going to give it to Tampa. I think Tampa's pissed. So
Yeah.
Okay, Dallas and Detroit. Detroit's coming off a big win.
Yeah.
Dallas is coming off a tough loss. Who are you picking?
I think Detroit's on a bit of a roll here. So I'll pick Detroit.
Nice.
Why not?
Good for you.
Why not?
I'm picking Dallas. They're pissed. I'm going with all the pissed off teams.
All right, that's not a bad strategy.
Last game is the Winnipeg versus the Islanders. Both of these teams did not play yesterday.
No, they're both rested. Okay, in New York.
I believe it is in New York. Yeah.
I think the Islanders have that.
I agree. I'm going to pick the Islanders. I think there's some questions in Winnipeg, and the Islanders are also pissed for no reason. They're just pissed. That's all the notes I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Well, I want to go back to the Matt Tkachuk interview that they did last night. Their dad, Brady and Matt's dad, is Keith Tkachuk, who currently is the director of, I don't think it's scouting, but it's player development or something. He's in the organization of the St. Louis Blues. Mm-hmm. So part of the conversation they had last night was because he's in the organization, he got the cup for some time. He had a day with the cup or half a day with the cup. And they had a party. And you've got Matt and Brady at this party because their dad has the cup, but they both don't. And they stayed as far away from the cup as possible. And Matt told his mother, don't you even try to get a picture of me with that cup.
Wow.
Don't you even try. I'm not going near it. And don't try to get, angles or whatever. Don't even do it. Don't go there. And he said, I just sat in the total other side of the hall with my buddies, having my own time. And I could see it over there, but I'm not going near it.
Wow.
And that's a big thing. I think it's a big thing in sports generally, but in the NHL in particular.
Superstition runs very rampant in the NHL.
There is no bigger group of weird ass superstitions and traditions than there is in the National Hockey League. He didn't want to touch it, didn't want to be close to it, because the tradition is you certainly don't do that you don't put it over your head.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't won it. And if you're a player, you probably don't even want to touch it unless you've won it. Mm-hmm. Now, ordinary folks, when the cup goes to shopping malls and places like that, and you get your picture taken with it, you can touch it. I don't think I've touched it, but I've been close to it. Mm-hmm. One of them. There's two cups. But I just thought it was so cool listening to this personal account of your dad winning the cup, more or less. But then you can't go near it because you're now a professional player of your own on an NHL team.
It's a weird situation.
Your brother, and he's on a different team. And when it comes to Matt, he was actually in the playoffs.
Yeah.
In the first round.
Absolutely.
So he was trying to get that cup and failed.
And failed, yeah.
And failed. So now it's sitting there in this hall, even though he failed it. It's right there. And he could walk over and kiss it if he wanted to or drink a beer out of it. Mm-hmm. But he would never do that, which is great.
Do you think they'll ever end up on the same team together?
Matt and Brady?
Yeah.
I think it's a good possibility, sure. I think they would like it.
I think it would be great.
I'd
love to see it. I don't know where they'd go, though. Does Brady go to Calgary? Do they meet somewhere else? I don't know. It would be cool to see it happen, though. But
or do they both end up in St. Louis?
Oh, I don't think St. Louis has the cap room. Not right now. Maybe in 5 years or something. But
last night, L.A. and Edmonton played, and I think L.A. plays in Calgary on Tuesday night.
Oh, I'm definitely watching that game.
Because they talked about this too. Drew Doughty hates Matt Tkachuk.
Yeah.
Hates him. And they asked him about it last night in the interview. They said, we've got these remarks on the record from Drew Doughty where he basically says, you're dirt.
You're scum, yeah.
What do you think of that? Does it bother you? He says, nah. One ink goes in one ear and out the other. I'll just say this much. I'm looking forward to the game. So I was like, yeah.
I love it. I'm definitely watching that game.
I love it too. That's awesome. Yeah. No, it was it's funny. After going through 4 or 5 months of no hockey, like Saturday night was an absolute overdose of hockey.
Yeah.
And I'm still, and the reason I didn't watch the highlights and I didn't stay up and try to watch all the sports channel analysis of every game like I would have done maybe in the middle of the season last year when I was on a roll.
Yeah.
I'm still not really feeling the hockey thing yet.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm excited, but I definitely agree. I only watch the highlights because we do this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still like, and that might be because I'm distracted with other things and changes and stuff and trying to figure stuff out, whatever. But like I was looking at tax information last night at like 1:30 in the morning, trying to sort out papers and stuff. Like my mind is kind of elsewhere. So that's probably a little bit to do with it. But yeah, it'll come, I think, for you and and me both.
And yeah, admittedly, once you're in your new place and in your new world, we'll still have obviously lots of contact, but it'll be less daily contact like we have now. And if I'm not part of the weekly cycle of podcasts and expected to write in with words of wisdom or whatever the heck I'm doing here, I'll probably be less engaged in hockey. I'll still have opinions and I'll still be interested in my team and whoever else they're playing and large developments that may happen in the league with personnel or injuries or whatever. I'll certainly be tuned in on those. And I'll be interested in the hockey, I guess, the business of hockey. But I probably will not be deep into it. I want to do a lot of other things.
Yes.
We have to have an off-camera discussion about tactics and techniques I can have now that I've restored my bookshelf writing nook area. I want that to be my backdrop for the podcast that I will be doing. Not podcasts necessarily, vlogs, I guess, more likely. But maybe some podcasts as well. I've been podcasting for almost 20 years, actually, in various forms and various topics. So I'm no stranger to Podbean, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
So you have released a couple of videos recently on your personal YouTube channel.
Yes.
And what's that channel called?
And thanks for your thumbnails, by the way, which have been very nice. It's just my name, I think, Brent Taylor. If
you search Brent Taylor VY2HF, you'll probably find it on YouTube. Now, you've released some vlogs from your UK travel time in May. It's May, right? Late May, early June?
Late May, early June. We left here, I think, on the 27th of May, and we got back on the 13th of June. So it was about 2.5 weeks being away. And just after I got back and I got the files transferred, I was trying to produce the first vlog. And my C drive, which is where all my caching was taking place and the Adobe program was working and running, it was reporting all kinds of errors because it was just full. There was just no room left. So I was out of commission for several weeks while I shopped for, ordered, bought, and then installed, and then transferred over, migrated to the new hard drive, which is amazing. So that got me back. But by then I was back at university doing classes and being very busy in my spare time doing work for that university course. And I'm still at university doing a different course now. And it's writing intensive. So there's lots of behind the scenes, just me sitting at a keyboard typing away. So I don't have a lot of time. Plus the weather's been pretty good, so I've had more access to being outside and that kind of thing too, at the airport and wherever else. But now we're getting to the season where Canadians, at least Eastern Canadians, start to cocoon. When the weather gets colder outside, it's far from snow yet, but it's chilly out. You start to feel more or less guilty, I guess, about being inside and doing work. So I produced several iterations of the vlog. I've got episodes 2, 3, 4, and I think I just uploaded episode 5 this morning. So I've got 5 now days of the travel vlog up, covering 6 days actually, because one's a carryover day. And I have 6 and 7 both finished and produced. And you've already written the thumbnails for those or designed them. So they're ready to go. I'll put one up tomorrow. I'll put one up on Tuesday.
Look at you go.
And then I'll keep at it. I have classes Wednesday night, so it might be next weekend before I get another 1 or 2 out. But next weekend's a long weekend in Canada. It's Thanksgiving.
So tell people what's your plan for the channel. Like, what do you want to do after those vlogs are released?
After those vlogs are released, the first thing I want to do is do a series of tips. Travel tips for those who are traveling internationally generally, but specifically to the UK, people that are coming from Canada and the US, North American consumers that are used to our power, our voltage, our devices, our terminology about things, our money. That's all different over there, and not in a bad way. It's pretty cool, actually, the way they do stuff, and in some ways safer. I'll explain that.
Okay.
But yeah, you have a question?
No, I just wanted to make the comment that you should call that series Just the Tips. Will you?
I'm going to write that down. Just the tips.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's a little risque, but
It is. But that'll all be featured on my regular channel. I don't have enough presence out there to have different channels for different things. I think that's just noise. But
Right.
maybe. If there's people who are only interested in travel and have no interest in ham radio things, the odd time I put a ham radio video up, that might annoy them. But I've only got 532 subscribers or something. Well, I'm surprised it's even that much, frankly.
we need to get you to 1,000.
I would love to be at 1,000.
Yeah.
I would love to be at
Go
1,000.
hit that subscribe button.
Yeah. So find it. If you like and subscribe. If you like it, say you like it. But if you don't like it, don't hit the like button. But if you want to subscribe, that's great. I don't want to abuse your fan base by having them follow me as well. But I would like to keep doing this. Just in the last few days, as I've been producing these videos, I've been getting better at it. You're a high flyer at editing things. You're up there. You're in the stratosphere. And I'm just Fred Flintstone stumbling over rocks. But I'm starting to learn, just in my reduced capability program and my reduced capability brain, starting to learn some tricks and things to make my job a little easier every single time I do an edit. I'm saving things that I made, for instance, rather than reinventing the wheel each time and all that. Excuse me.
Whoa.
There we go. I got a little ahead of myself.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's a lot of fun.
What else besides tips and stuff? Like, do you want to do other vlogs, like the next time you travel?
Definitely. The next time I travel, if I have a good camera, and I'm sure I will, now I know how much more important B-roll and timing is. What I did do when I was in the UK this past trip was I would capture a lot of stills and footage and maybe even some stand-up vloggy things during the day, and then I would do a recap that night. But I would never actually preview what was going to happen today, mainly because I didn't know what was going to happen today.
That's true.
But I could record a preview after the day has happened and just let on it hasn't happened yet, right?
Yeah, you could.
And just thinking about how to invent those timelines in my head to make it flow better would have made my job now that I'm producing so much easier.
No, you definitely learned a storyboard in your head. Once you start doing it and stuff, and yeah.
Really. And maybe there's an aid, maybe there's software or something that can help me organize that a little better. Right now I'm just doing it in my head, thinking about even just what to name my files and things like that when I go finding them later to put them in my flow to produce them. So that part is coming along. And next time, I think the vlogs I do will be far more put together.
Nice.
Right now, it's very scattered. Now, I've already recorded them, and I'm back from the UK, so it's not like I can go back and re-edit or redo things. So I'm basically stuck with the footage that I created. I could create footage here that fills in some blanks. And if I had my little studio going over in my nook, I could probably do that. I think that would be maybe cheating a little bit, but if it makes it look better, it's probably worth doing.
That's the situation I'm in with my vlogs from Vegas last year. I've completed all the ones that were planned. I have other ones to edit, but they weren't planned when I shot them. They're just like kind of like random footages from each day. Some days I didn't even film, so it's just an annoying process of having to put them together now, and I'd have to film like voiceovers and explain certain things, and it's almost not worth it. So I'll do it eventually, but yeah. But speaking of that reminds me of the second channel. What do you want to do for more post-to-post moving forward now that I'm moving? Is there something that we could do that...
Oh, absolutely. I haven't had the conversation yet, but I'm open to offers.
Okay.
I'm open to requests.
I would like for you to do some GeoGuessr, like the Where Am I series that we do, but they had the actual version that they have called GeoGuessr. If you could film yourself playing that with a webcam or whatever, like if you can record your screen, which you can easily do in Windows,
right,
and also record webcam and put it together to see how good you can do. I think that would be really interesting for the viewers.
People seem to ask for that a lot in the comments when we have done the other Where Am I's, right?
Yeah.
Is there, or would you work out ahead of time with GeoGuessr any copyright issues?
There's
or
no
anything
copyright
like
issues.
There's no copyright
No,
issues.
they use Google Maps.
And so we can just play it.
Yes, correct.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I would like to do.
All right, cool.
So I'd like a decent camera in the studio. I do have access to, think, one light, maybe two, that are over on the other side here of our studio that aren't in use, and there were ones that I had bought, I think, for myself. So with your help, hopefully in the next week or so, we can set it up so that I have decent lighting to make this look
As good as it can.
less horrifying. And then I can start to do things. The other thing I would like to do as I get further on in my side job of being a writer, I've gone to some seminars, writing symposiums, and I continue to try to improve my awareness of how to use social media as an author. And there's no point me using social media as an author right now because I have nothing to promote.
Correct.
I have nothing in a finished state. Interestingly, in the course of my new class I'm taking in writing at the university, I have been asked to write something new, not something I've already written, and something fresh and from scratch. So I have done that, and just out of the blue, I have chosen historical fiction. So essentially, I'm taking a real event with real people that were in that event, but I don't know what they did or exactly what they said as when they were part of that event.
Okay.
So I'm inventing or recreating, hopefully, their interactions, their words, their deeds, their stories,
Right.
and putting it in a way that reads like a novel, but actually the people in the novel are based on real folk.
This is exactly like the most recent Quentin Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Okay.
which is based on the Manson family and how they murdered the two, one famous dude and then the actress or whatever in the Hollywood Hills or whatever. It didn't happen in the movie. The movie was about the story of the people, whatever. Some like the stories and stuff that went on. Like Bruce Lee was in the movie, and I'm sure what happened with Bruce Lee in the movie didn't actually happen in real life. But a lot of the movie was completely fictional, but it was based on historical events and the real people. So you might want to watch that movie for some ideas.
Yeah, that's a great point. Tarantino, I wouldn't rush to a theater to watch a Tarantino movie, and some of them I just find I can't understand them. But it's always interesting stuff.
Yes,
right?
it is always
always very interesting stuff. One of the topic I've chosen to write about in my writing course is based on an ancestor of ours, of course, because I'm into genealogy. And as I've worked hard to find out more about this guy, I have learned so much about him and his extended family, and the role that he has played in the development of both American and Canadian history, that he is a fascinating guy. And even his normal life, if I just tell it based on what I know, if I just tell about his normal life, it's fascinating stuff. It really is. So I just add a few things in to add some color to his normal life, because I don't know what kind of guy he was. I don't know if he was a tall man or a short man, or
Right.
I don't know anything about that. But the life he lived is unbelievable. He was born in an island in Scotland when, in 1725, he joined the British Army. He was at some major battles in wars in northern Britain. He went to the United States, or what was then the colonies, and fought for the British Army alongside George Washington, not right beside him, but in the same effort as he did in that war, and was wounded, stayed in the Army. They sent him down to the Caribbean. He had battles down there with the Spanish over some islands. He was in Florida when it became British territory after the treaty in 1763. Moved to New York. He ran a store in Staten Island. And then he joined the Army again when the Revolution broke out, and spent the rest of his days in Boston and Halifax, and then moved to New Brunswick when he was retiring. And but everything in between is so cool, because I've got letters that he wrote to his commanding officers and other people. The actual letters. They've been published by the New York Historical Society. This is a fascinating guy, and he's a real guy.
It's kind of a shame that you have to write something new, though, when you already have other projects on the go that need attention.
Oh, definitely. But I tell you one thing. I'm glad I'm doing this because I know when I go back to those things that need attention, I'm going to have to make some drastic changes to them because I have learned a lot. And now when I go back to those things that I wrote, and when I wrote them at the time, I thought, that's pretty good. Now I'll go back and look at that, what I thought was pretty good. And I'll just say this, it needs a lot of work.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
I have an idea in my head, and it's a bit of a time commitment for you, but I think it could be interesting. It's for the second channel, More Post to Post. Would you be interested in doing movie reviews?
I would.
Like,
I would.
Once every 2 weeks, you can go see a movie by yourself or with mom or whatever, and then the next day or whatever, film a 5 to 10 minute video of your thoughts on the movie, and then I'll see the same movie and do the same, either myself or Jason and I, or whatever. And every 2 weeks, we'll talk about a movie.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I do. I do like that.
All right.
We could maybe even expand it wider than just theater shows and movies. Maybe there's a TV series that comes out on Netflix or something that we want to watch. Or...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At 100%.
Okay.
I would love to do that. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on Netflix that I would love to talk about.
You and I have vastly different tastes
We do.
When it comes to stuff. So it'll be interesting to see the contrast.
Yep.
What you like and what I don't like. You love Breaking Bad.
I do.
And I couldn't get into it.
Okay.
Because to me it glorified crime. However, I loved The Wire, which in many ways, depending on what season you're talking about, glorifies, or not glorifies, but almost celebrates the people who are the criminals as opposed to the cops or the lawyers or the reporters.
I haven't seen it.
And I strongly suggest, and you tell me all the time, oh, there's this thing you just got to watch. And I feel the same way about you.
Yeah.
There's things you got to watch that you haven't watched yet. But if we can decide when something is going to release, after the Emmys, now I want to see this Fleabag show that's out of the UK. It's very quirky, very odd.
I've heard about that.
It's on Amazon Prime. I did watch the first episode, and I'm very intrigued. I will watch the rest. They only make 2 seasons and they're done. But in Fleabag, the lead actress, plays someone who's a troubled person, but they look at the camera and they talk to the camera. They break that thing they call the fourth wall. Like we're talking to the camera all the time, but in this case, like she's acting and then she looks at the camera and makes comments to the
right,
kind of like Frank Underwood would do and even in the British version of the political show House of Cards. Jeez. Frank Underwood would do his acting, then he'd look at the camera. Do you think I'm really going to do that? And so that kind of unnerves me a bit. But it's an interesting series, I think, that I'll be have in front of me with this Fleabag. Your mother saw the first episode with me, and she has absolutely no interest in it.
Okay.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge is her name, and the actress. She's great, but your mother doesn't like this breaking the fourth wall thing. It puts her off.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely some series that I would like to talk about. I'd like you to watch Dark on Netflix. It's a German show. It is in German, but it has English audio dubbed in and English subtitles. It's kind of like Stranger Things, but like an adult version of Stranger Things. It has a lot to do with, I don't want to give anything away, but time travel.
Okay, that's not too bad. Is there some monster that's going to chase me?
No, there's no monsters.
I don't like the monster thing in Stranger
There's no monsters.
Things.
It's very fictional, minus the way that time travel happens, basically.
Okay.
There's a lot of intertwining personalities and people, like people from the future go in the past and they influence people in the past, and they're like, it's really complicated, and whoever wrote it's a genius. Like an absolute genius. So that's a show that I'd like to talk about. The Joker, which I just seen and you have not seen, I'd like for you to go see that because it's applicable to life, and a lot of people are talking about it right now. So it would be cool to talk about that and some other stuff too. So yeah, that'd be cool if we could do that. We'll try and plan around. I'll keep an eye out on Netflix and what's coming out in theaters and stuff. And there's a space movie coming out. and theaters.
I usually don't do well with space movies because I'm analyzing them so,
I know.
so toughly.
But that's part of that's why the video might be interesting, because we can tear it apart a little bit. But
Okay.
all right. Well, this kind of got way off topic.
Did it ever? But a lot of fun. It almost turned into a bit of a
Having a yak.
having a act. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks guys for listening and watching. I really appreciate it. We are, like I said, doing podcast 84 next weekend, Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada. So you'll see that next Sunday. The following weekend will be no podcast. And then the following weekend after that is the podcast with Jason. So there are definitely more videos coming up besides the podcast too. There's, I think, 4 or 5 more jersey videos to release. I have a card unboxing video to edit.
And some jersey giveaways to catch up through the summer.
Jersey giveaways to catch up on. We posted one this week and another one coming out soon. And I think that's all. We have 2 items for mail time. I don't know if it's worth doing a video on just 2 things.
Well, it'd be nice to get them closed off. The people who sent them
yes, I agree.
Probably wouldn't mind seeing the opening.
I agree.
So, yeah.
Also, we won a jersey on Twitter, and I want, some people know what it is because I shared it on Twitter, but I want to make a video on that. So that'll be its own video probably in the coming weeks or coming week. And there'll be other things too, I'm sure, that we'll think of. So, yeah, that's kind of wraps up this podcast. Thanks, guys, for listening and watching. Hope you watched lots of hockey last night. I hope you have plans to watch the games today. I definitely do. I'll probably watch the Dallas-Detroit game if I can, if it's on TV. I don't know if any of these games are going to be. I'll watch whatever's on TV.
Well, I think NHL Center Ice might be in a free preview mode right now too.
Oh, okay.
They were the other night, so they might still be on.
All right, sounds good. Well, enjoy your weekend. Thanks for listening or watching, and we will see you in next week's podcast. Adios.